Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. Universal basic income. It is a big idea that pops up every now and then. It's had some really interesting proponents in the past, including people like Elon Musk, who suggested that universal basic income in 2018, he said, was really important to consider given the fact that there's going to be massive job displacement due to AI. You have certain American politicians like Andrew Yang, who in 2020 ran on a platform for president to give Americans a universal basic income of $1,000 US a month, calling it a game changer. My father was a proponent of universal basic income. And basically the idea is everybody gets a minimum amount of money every month. And that will help bring people out of poverty and free them up to focus on being as the most productive versions of themselves as they can. Opponents tend to say, hey, if you're getting free money, you're not going to work, right? And I think that's a fair worry to have. Well, there was a study, a German experiment rather, that followed 122 people in Germany for 3 years. And it guaranteed them just over $1,300 a month. And what it found is that people were more likely to continue working full time even when they received no strings attached universal basic income payments. And so, I mean, is it time that we discussed universal basic income? Are you completely against it? And if so, why? Do you support the idea? Do you think that it will motivate people to work harder? This experiment in Germany suggests that that is the case. But look, 122 people is by no means a fulsome study. It's an experiment, as they called it. But there could be some interest in it. And as I said, my dad was a supporter, and I don't speak for my father, but were he here today, I would suspect that he would say, you know, when times are good, it's something that we should try. When we have the money to bring to bear on a pilot project, we should. But that being said, universal basic income, it's a conversation that I think maybe we should have. Dave, what do you think of UBI?
Thanks, Ben.
Hey.
Always a pleasure now.
Thank you.
It's good and it's bad.
Okay.
There has to be some certain stipulations. Like there has to be a performance when people are doing their work. They have to be able to put out the same all the time. Because in the real world, if you don't, you're down the road.
Well, in this study, Dave, the study participants worked 40 hours a week and stayed in their employment, identical to the study's control group that received no payment. So it turns out that whether or not you received this universal basic income, you still participated in the workforce at the same level as if you hadn't. So it didn't make people lazier, and which I find pretty interesting. Again, 122 people is not a study. It's just an experiment. Tom, what do you think of UBI?
I was always against it, and now I'm tending to lean toward it. And here's the reasons why, but we have to be very critical.
Yeah.
And another thing is, you won't need student loans anymore. You won't need welfare. You won't need ODSP. You can get rid of all those bureaucrats, all those people, and save a crap load of money just from those alone.
Yeah. So long as a system is created that avoids graft and grift, you would support something like that. That's very interesting. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk to Brett. Brett, welcome to the Ben Mulroney Show.
Good morning, Ben.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call. My thoughts are this: why doesn't the federal and the provincial governments actually cut what our income tax is at the beginning? So I think right now it's like $16,000 for federal and $8,000 for provincial.
Yeah.
Cut it to so the first $50,000 or the first $750 per week is tax free.
Yeah.
Now you got people who are in lower income jobs, even in jobs that are, you know, the minimum wage jobs, they're not paying tax.
Yeah.
They're not paying. And so what's that going to save them on a monthly basis? And where's that money going to go? Back into the economy, which is where it's needed.
Yeah, and I see your point there as well. Rather than send it to the government only so that they can send it back to us, why not just allow them to keep it? And so, yeah, I can absolutely see that side of it. Brett, thank you so much for the call. Thank you to everybody. Like I said, sometimes we start these conversations and I don't know where they're going to go. I don't necessarily have a hard and fast position, but I always appreciate our callers for coming in, telling me what they're passionate about. Helps me make a more informed decision a little bit later on.